Alright, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Koholo Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to your elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to you brothers that's pushing the word in sincerity and truth. Okay, so I have an article that I wanted to go into. It's from Global Research.ca, okay, which this is an organization. This is by Professor Michael Chossudovsky, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, if I'm not, Shalakia. Global Research, this is from July 8th, 2019. Now, as you can see on the screen, the article is entitled "A Major Conventional War Against Iran is an Impossibility, Crisis Within the U.S. Command Structure." All right, so this article basically goes into some aspects of a potential war with Iran, and the challenges that the United States government faces with conducting that war. And as you can know, since after 9/11, Esau has basically, in his quest, General Wesley Clark, his envision of invading 7 countries, okay, within in a small time frame, has been challenged and has been undermined by different various other countries like Russia, like China, okay. And you can see that the United States government, their military, has spent all types of money, all right, to conduct these wars. And on the home front, the people in the United States are basically living in debt, impoverished, and these corporations have made exorbitant profits, okay, off of the backs of the American citizens, and the discontent with the citizenry and the United States, the Babylonian citizens, they don't have a thirst for war. All right, they're war weary because the United States has been in a constant state of war. All right, more so in this 21st century. All right, with Iraq and Afghanistan. Then you had these other wars with Libya. Okay, what's going on over there in Ukraine and all of this. These United States basically trying to keep themselves in a position of power, trying to be relevant on the world stage. But without further ado, I'll get into this article real quick, and I just want to hit some key points, and I'm gonna bring out a few scriptures. All right, it says, in this article, we examine America's war strategies, including its ability to launch an all-out theater war against the Islamic Republic of Iran. A follow-up article will focus on history of U.S. war plans against Iran, as well as complexities underlying the structure of military alliances. Okay, because in order to conduct a war with Iran, you have to have strategic military alliances in countries that's willing to go forth. Now, as it stands on this side, you have the Iranian. You have the Saudis. You have the state of Israel, okay, which is a major actor, which we know, according to prophecy, that the state of Israel is going to spearhead this attack, whether the United States government is ready or not. All right, and we know that by them doing that, it's going to lead to a greater war, which is going to get the United States in a position that they're not going to be able to get out of. All right. Now it says, under present conditions in Iraq, style all-out blitzkrieg involving the simultaneous deployment of ground, air, and naval forces is an impossibility for several reasons. U.S. hegemony, Shalakia, in the Middle East has been weakened largely as a result of the evolving structure of military alliances. The U.S. does not have the ability to carry out such a project. There are 2 main factors which determine America's military agenda in relation to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Number 1, Iran's military. There is the issue of Iran's military capabilities, ground forces, navy, air force, defense, missile defense, namely its ability to effectively resist and respond to an all-out conventional war involving the deployment of U.S. and allied forces. Within the realm of conventional warfare, Iran has sizable military capabilities. Iran is to acquire Russia S-400 state-of-the-art defense system. Iran is ranked as a major military power in the Middle East with an estimated 534,000 active personnel in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It has advanced ballistic missile capabilities as well as national defense industry. In the case of U.S. air attack, Iran would target U.S. military facilities in the Persian Gulf. Okay, so this is not going to be a cakewalk. This is not a war that's going to be like Afghanistan or and Iraq. Okay, ultimately you're going to have a lot of casualties that's going to come about when this war starts, because the United States has to keep into consideration you've sanctioned Iran for decades, and they have basically been able to be self-sufficient, other than the Russian surface-to-air missiles, okay, which that's a game changer. But they have a sizable capability of missiles, which these can be launched at different military installations, different United States interests within the Middle East, is the state of Israel. All right, so things have to be done strategically if you're going to confront what Esau deems as a threat in these Iranians. Okay, now I got a scripture right here. This is the book of Joel 3:10. It says, start at 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. All right, because the different plowshares, okay, those are instruments of agriculture. Plowshares, pruning hooks, those are different agriculture tools. These are things that you use to cultivate and feed your people, basically. But they're being turned into swords and spears. All right, those plowshares and pruning hooks are being turned into swords and spears. Now it says, let the weak say I am strong, because now you have countries like the Iranians. They're not cowering to United States imperialism. They're calling it out, or Babylonian imperialism. They're calling it out because they've sat back and seen the United States do all types of wickedness to these other countries like Iraq, okay, Afghanistan, okay, and pay off all of these other countries, in which these countries that have taken the money, and we'll get into that because that's prophecy, they actually have different alliances. The shift in alliances has changed. So these nations that once took the money of America, okay, they're actually having deals and alliances with the Iranians. Okay, it says evolving structure of military alliances. It says the second consideration has to do with the evolving structure of military alliances. Now they have 2003 to 2019, which is largely to the detriment of the United States. All right. It says several of America's staunchest allies are sleeping with the enemy. Countries which have borders with Iran, including Turkey and Pakistan, have military cooperation agreements with Iran. While this in itself excludes the possibility of a ground war, it also affects the planning of U.S. and allied naval and air operations. Until recently, both Turkey, NATO heavyweight, and Pakistan were among America's faithful allies hosting the U.S. military bases. So the United States used to give money to Turkey. Well, they probably still do, but they gave millions upon billions of taxpayer dollar to Turkey and Pakistan, and look what it has given to them. All right, these different nations that took the money from Babylon the Great, or America. All right, they basically are impeding the planning of attack on Iran. All right, because now the alliances has shifted. All right, and it only gets worse from here, man, because once this war takes place, even these countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, okay, they're going to have popular uprisings where the people are going to look to basically take the princes out of power, man. All right, these different ruling class out of power, man. They're going to be basically looking to Mussolini them, all right, or do what they did to, I believe his name is Tsar Nicholas. Basically, kill their leaders, rise up against their leaders. Now let's go to the book of Obadiah. Start at 1. The point is should be in like verse 7. It says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom, concerning the Esau, concerning Edom. All right, which today we would know them to be the so-called white men. All right, if you seen them today, all right, the Edomites, the vision concerning them, you call them Caucasians. All right, so this is the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And that's why it's not so easy no more, man. It's not going to be easy, you know. Esau has to go into the Middle East for Iran, and those mainly the state of Israel. Okay, they're going to be the ones to push this thing into gear. All right, and it's not going to be good. Okay, it's not going to be good. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Let's look up the word for despised, because they are greatly despised. That word is bazar. All right, and it says to despise, hold in contempt, disdain. You can hear by the rhetoric that they have: to be vile, worthless, to be despicable. All right, to be despised. Yeah, they call the Edomites over here the great Satan. All right, so everything. This is the vision of Obadiah or Obadiah, a servant of the Lord. He said, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Yeah, because they don't think that the American military can be defeated, okay? Or any of these Edomite militaries can be defeated, but the United States military is going to face their greatest defeat over there in the Middle East. All right, all right, and the Lord is going to destroy them. Okay, pursuant to Isaiah the 34th chapter. Obadiah 1:4 says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If these came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some greening grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy, this is the point right here. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. All right, Pakistan. It mentions in this article, I can't pronounce that name, but it's a country that's north of Iran. It's called Azerbaijan or something like that. They've taken money. They took money from it. And this is what the scriptures say. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. So the Pakistanis, Turkey, okay. What is the leader's name of Turkey? Aguardin or whatever. Hey, they've taken your bread and and this is taxpayer money, man. You American sheeple should be outraged, man. All the money that they spent is gone for naught. You pay higher prices on everything, and then ultimately you're gonna have to deal with a famine. So you American people should be outraged, man. All right, because all this money went for naught. All right, because evolving structure of military alliances have changed. Okay, going back to the article, it says until recently both Turkey and Pakistan were among America's faithful allies, hosting U.S. military bases From a broader military standpoint, Turkey is actively cooperating with both Iran and Russia. Moreover, Ankara will be acquiring in 2020 Russia's state-of-the-art S-400 air defense system, while de facto opting out from the integrated U.S. NATO Israel air defense system. Okay, so these countries are swaying to the east, towards the kings of the east. It says, needless to say, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO, is in crisis. Turkey's exit from NATO is almost de facto. America can no longer rely on its staunchest allies. Moreover, U.S. and Turkish support militias are fighting one another in Syria. So you have these countries, they have different interests, okay? They have competing interests. All right. It says Iraq has also indicated that it will not cooperate with the U.S. in the case of a ground war with Iran. So all this money that was spent in Iraq, all right, to prop up the Iraqi government, okay, you took out Saddam Hussein and you set up your puppet government. Now your puppet government is not cooperating, okay? So all that money that the United States spent is in waste. You stupid ass politicians, man. You senators and you Republicans, you Edomites, man, and you token Negroes, okay, and you all you other nations that are senators and you're a bunch of fools, man. All right. It says, under present conditions, none of Iran's neighbor states, including Turkey, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, Turkmenistan, that's the country that I was talking about, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, would allow U.S. allied ground forces to transition through their territory. All right. It says, in recent developments, Azerbaijan, which in the wake of the Cold War became a U.S. ally as well as a member of NATO partnerships for peace, has changed sides. Wow. So all these countries are turning against you, man. You know, that's why the Lord said, look, he said he's going to make you small among the heathen, you Edomites, man. You're going to be greatly despised. All right, all these nations that took your money, okay, they took your, they ate your bread. They have lain the wound under thee. All right, there is none understanding in him. And you can't see this, though the prophets are telling you this, man. All right, let me just go to, real quick. What is this? Revelation. Let's go to Revelation 11 towards the end. See what that says. Bear with me. This is Revelations 11 and 17. No, let's start at 18. Revelation 11 and 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest giveth reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroyeth the earth. Okay? Yeah. You know, because it's time for the reward to come. It's time for the reward that the servants of the Lord have been promised. All right? And he's going to destroy them which destroy the earth. And it's going to start with this war that the Lord is propagating in the Middle East. As a matter of fact, let's go to the war. Let's go to Exodus real quick. The book of Exodus. And this is a beautiful thing, man. This is a beautiful thing. This is a gift for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to give to a man to be able to see this. Because here it is, you have people writing these articles like Professor Michael, all right, from the Global Research Institute. But he can't break down these scriptures, all right, and basically let you understand what is going on. This is a beautiful thing. Here right here you have the map, okay? As you can see, you have Iran right here, and in order to launch an attack on Iran, okay, it probably would have to be some type of amphibious invasion, because you got countries like Pakistan and Turkey. They won't allow the United States to use their country as a springboard, to attack Iran on multiple fronts. Even Iraq won't allow that to happen. Now, what happens is when this war breaks off, you have United States military forces in Afghanistan, which they'll be cut off. Okay, they'll be cut off, which is going to put the United States in a position. All right, that's they're going to sustain heavy casualties, and all of their military bases within this region are going to be attacked. All right. Now you still have what is that country called? You have some client states like Jordan and Israel, and we have to see what happens with Oman, and UAE, and I'm looking for Kuwait. Yeah, you have the country of Kuwait, which has military bases in Kuwait. All right, let me jump down real quick because let's see. It says bilateral military and intelligence agreements between Iran and Azerbaijan. I can't pronounce that for nothing. Azerbaijan. I think that's what it's called. Um, it says was signed in December 2018. In turn, Iran collaborates extensively with Turkmenistan with regards to Afghanistan. The eternal situation with the Taliban controlling a large part of Afghan territory would not favor a large-scale deployment of U.S. and allied ground forces on the Iran-Afghan border. So a lot of, see, you Edomites, you bog yourself down fighting these two wars in in Iraq and Afghanistan, and basically you mess yourself up because this was the target all along. Iran was always the target, but you tried to soften them up, okay, by putting sanctions on them and basically trying to cut them off from their oil and weaken them, try to have a popular uprising, cyber attacking their networks and their infrastructure and all of that. And you should have just went ahead and just attacked. 10 years ago when Bush was in office, you should have went ahead and attacked. But you didn't because it wasn't time. The elect had to be sealed. Now you're going to go into a situation and you're going to fulfill prophecy. It's nothing you can do. You're done. You're through. Only thing you can do is go to war with your pride. Like the scripture said, the pride of thine heart have deceived you with your pride, which is nothing but a deception to yourself. Going back here. It says, visibly, the policy of strategic encirclement against Iran formulated in the wake of the Iraq War 2003 is no longer functional. Iran has friendly relations with neighboring countries which previously were within the U.S. sphere of influence. Under these conditions, a major conventional theater of war by the U.S. involving the deployment of ground forces would be suicide. This does not mean, however, that war will not take place. In some regards, with the advance in military technologies, an Iraq-style war is obsolete. We are nonetheless at a dangerous crossroads. Other diabolical forms of military intervention directed against Iran are currently on the drawing board of the Pentagon. These include various forms of limited warfare, i.e. targeted missile attacks, U.S. and allied support of terrorist paramilitary groups, so-called bloody nose operations, including the use of tactical nuclear weapons. Now, this is very, 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 the use of tactical nuclear weapons. It's very, very interesting because Esau Edom is going to do something, all right, that's going to basically make him very, very despised in the eyes of the nations. All right, he's going to do something really stupid to make even his European allies turn upon him, and he's going to find out that his only ally that he has is those gutter rats over there in the state of Israel. All right, so that's a good thing to keep a watch on. Uh, the the tactical nuclear weapons that can be used. It says acts of political destabilization and color revolutions. All of these stuff has been attempted. False flag attacks and military threats, sabotage, confiscation of financial assets, extensive economic sanctions, electromagnetic and climate warfare. So they have the ability to, create types of climate warfare, environmental modification techniques. See, these are different weapons that Esau has. That's why the scriptures say what it says, man. In Job 9, and that's Esau's blessing too. So his blessing was the sword, but along with the sword, he's able to weaponize the elements. Okay, use electromagnetic pulses and all types of things. This is Job 9 and 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay, who has been given this power, man? All of this power, man, to do these type of things. Cyber warfare, climatic warfare, environmental modification techniques, chemical and biological warfare. And this stuff is unconventional, all right? And this is going to lead to Esau basically showing himself to be the true devil, the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right. This is Exodus 15 and 3. It says, the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. And the Lord have given Esau all of this power, all right, to create, to bring forth this third world war, man. He's when they say all options are on the table, you don't necessarily have to use a military strike, right away. You have all of these other mechanisms that you can use, all right, like sabotage, confiscation of financial assets, the sanctions, all of that, economic sanctions, extensive sanctions. Every time you turn around, they're talking about putting sanctions on Iran. They've been doing that since Bush been in the office, and even before then. Since Ayatollah Khomeini was taken out. I mean, not the Shah. Ayatollah Khomeini came into power. That's one of the heads of one of the original heads of the Iranians. U.S. Central Command Forward Headquarters located in enemy territory. Another consideration has to do with the crisis within the U.S. command structure. U.S. CENTCOM is the theater level combatant command for all operations in the broader Middle East region, extending from Afghanistan to North Africa. It is the most important combat command of the United States command structure. It has led and coordinated several major Middle East war theaters, including Afghanistan, Iraq. It is also involved in Syria. In the case of a war with Iran, operations in the Middle East would be coordinated by U.S. Central Command with headquarters in Tampa, Florida, in permanent liaison with its forward command headquarters in Qatar. In late June 2019, after Iran shot down a U.S. drone, President Trump called off the swiftly planned military strike on Iran while intimidating in his Twitter that any attack by Iran on anything American will be met with great and overwhelming force. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, confirmed the deployment of the U.S. Air Force F-22 stealth fighters to the Al-Udeid air base in Qatar, intended to defend American forces and interests in the region against Iran. It says the base is technically Qatari property, playing host to the forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command with 11,000 U.S. military personnel. It is described as one of the U.S. military's most enduring and most strategically positioned operations on the planet. Washington Times. Oh, you Edomites are going to lose everything when this war starts, man, because you're going to have a lot of popular uprisings. All right, that's going to take place in all of in a lot of these client states. All right, in a lot of these client states. Now, if you want to read the rest of the article, it's a long article. You can go to globalresearch.ca. I just wanted to hit a few points on this article. I'm in with this scripture right here. This is let's see. This is Genesis 16 and 12. It's talking about Ishmael, but you got to consider that Ishmael is going to be in the midst of this third world war too, even though we're talking about Elam, the Elamites. This is Genesis 16 and 12. It says, we'll start at 11. It says, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Yeah, so Ishmael is going to be a wild man. Ishmael is going to return back to his wild nature. This was told to Hagar, which was the concubine of Abraham. Man, Ishmael is going to rise up, against his leaders and overthrow them. All right. And Esau, man, you're finished, man. You're finished. The last thing would be for the state of Israel to attack Iran, and you have the blowback. You'll have United States that is forced to enter into this war. All right, which they know that it's not going to be a walk in the park, and it's not going to be a thing of Iraq and Afghanistan. It's going to lead to blowback that the American citizens are going to feel. All right, they're going to have food shortages. They're going to have different terrorist attacks. All right, different the economy is going to collapse. It's going to be so much chaos that's going to come from this war that's going to take place. All right, and even from the start, they should have been did it a long time ago. They should have went into Iran a long time ago, but now you prolonged it. Now your allies that were once at peace with you, they're switching up. They're moving towards the side of Russia, and Russia just sat back and they watched you go into Afghanistan and Iraq, and they didn't say too much, and then they seen you go into Libya, and then when you went into Syria, that's when the tension started going. The tension started ramping up, and now with Iran and Venezuela. So with that, man, I just want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to you brothers that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.